YouTube, what's going on, man? What's happening? We're back with another video, consistent with it. I'm pretty sure this is free for free. This is our third video this week. We got a little track record going on. Do you understand what I'm saying? But yeah, in this video, I want to speak about something that I've been thinking about personally for a little minute now. Now, you know, on this channel, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be speaking about 3 different things. Yeah, it's either business, God, or clothing brands. Like, that's me. I'm going to be speaking about one of those 3 things. But in this video, I want to try and wrap them all together. Like, I want to put it all into one. Because I've been thinking about this one topic. Well, there's 2 topics I want to touch on. I'm going to touch on both of them in this video. But I've been thinking about both of them a lot recently, yeah? So let's dive into it. I reckon this is going to help a lot of people. Now, the way that my mind works, yeah, I don't know why my brain's wired like this, but I understand information best when it's boxed in like a principle or a pattern. Let me explain to you what I mean when I say that. Like, I've gone through so many different ups and downs when it comes to my clothing brand. I've gone through so many different highs and lows, different phases and stages of my clothing brand, that I've been able to pick up on certain principles that work for my clothing brand. So for example, I'm not even going to break down all the principles, but I'll give you one of them. So one principle is people only buy what other people want to buy. And what that principle basically means is that a lot of us as humans have this sheep mentality where we're going to follow whatever's popping at a specific time, whatever's popular, whatever's got a lot of attention around it. Us as humans, we're naturally interested in where the hype and attention is. I think it's more like a survival mechanism, to be honest with you. Like, in the jungle, if you're seeing 100 people run one direction, you're going to run in that direction as well. So as a clothing brand owner, it's best to play off of those human traits, if that makes sense. So when you're releasing a product, not only do you need to promote the product, but you need to promote the fact that people want to buy your product. And naturally, the byproduct to come from that is that other people are going to want to buy it as well. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's just a principle that I've picked up of over the years of running my clothing brand through just trying different things. So that's an example, yeah? And when it comes to patterns, patterns is more on a broader perspective. I'm talking about life in general. In my day-to-day life, or whatever the case may be, it's like my brain is searching for patterns. My brain is searching for repetition. Where is the repetition throughout life? Because to me, that clearly shows that this is just going to continue happening over and over and over again. So it's best for me to be on the right side of this repetition, if that makes sense. Now, anyway, yeah, the reason why I think principles are dope is because principles are all microcosms of each other. I sound like a nerd, I sound like a proper dork right now, but bear with me, I'm going to make it make sense. And if you watch this video, this is going to help you, yeah? What I mean when I say principles are microcosms of each other, I mean that a principle over here that can be applied to one area of life can also be applied to a different area of life. Even though they're 2 unrelated situations, the same principle applies. And the way that I see it, it's like principles are God's automation. It's like he set certain principles up in different areas of life and they just apply across the board, innit? And it just makes sense. God doesn't have to come down here and tweak little things because he set these principles and they apply to every aspect or facet of life. So if you are on the right side of these principles, you're going to win because the principles are the principles and they're not changing for nothing. But if you're on the wrong side of these principles, you're going to lose. And there's no morality behind these principles either. It's like the principle or the law of gravity. There's no morality behind that. Like, a murderer could jump off of a building and he's going to fall to the floor, crack every single bone in his body, and so is a baby. There's no morality behind principles. It's just whether or not you are on the right side or the wrong side of these principles. And that's why I like them. That's why I search for principles throughout life, because it's like I just need to make sure that I'm positioned on the right side of these principles. And the natural occurrence after that, the byproduct of that, is I have to win, I have to succeed because I'm operating by God's automation, by these principles. Do you understand what I'm saying? But there's one principle here that I want to speak about, yeah? It's called the law of polarity. And basically what the law of polarity is that there's equal and opposite sides to everything, yeah? You can't have negative without positive. You can't have up without down. You can't have day without night, yeah? Essentially what it means is there's nothing in this world that's one-sided. You can't show me a one-sided piece of paper, a one-sided coin, a one-sided bread. There's nothing that's one-sided. There's always the positive and the negative. There's always those equal and opposite sides. And remember what I said earlier on this, in this video, yeah? Principles are all microcosms of each other. So if this principle of polarity, negative and positive, can be applied to you over here in life, Who's calling me right now? Don't they know I'm trying to talk? But yeah, as I was saying though, principles can be applied to all different areas of life. So if this law of polarity thing, the negative and positive works over here, it has to work in other aspects. And this is where I want to speak about business and clothing brands, yeah? Right now, you may be going through some situations and they're feeling tough. Like they look like tough situations to be in, whether that's your manufacturers messing up your bulk order or customers complaining or you not generating enough sales for your clothing brands. These things happen, but they're not positive or negative. It's just the situation. It's the fact of the matter. And the fact of the matter, we can't change, but what we can change is our focus on the fact. Now, remember I said there's negative and positives to everything. So there has to be a negative and positive to the situation that you're going through. I don't care what you say. You can say to yourself that this is the worst situation in the world. And to you, it might be. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily a negative situation, because there has to be a positive flip side to it as well. Now, what it really comes down to is, what side are you going to decide to focus on? Are you going to focus on the negative or focus on the positive? I've got a little saying and it goes, fix your focus, then you're going to fix your feelings. And if you fix your feelings, you're going to fix your fingers. What I mean when I say fix your fingers, I'm not talking about that literally. There's nothing wrong with your fingers. They're not broken. But your fingers represent your action, like what you're going to actually do within the situation. And we all know that your actions dictate your future. So if you're able to fix that focus, I know this mad situation is going on right now. I'm not generating sales. Cool. But let me switch my focus to the positive side of this. While I'm not generating a lot of sales, let me make sure that I'm focusing on perfecting my product. This is an opportunity to perfect my product before customers can critique me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just an example. And once you're able to fix that focus now, it's going to change your feelings. All right, cool. I want to make sure that my product is the best product in the world. Yeah, that's your feeling inside. I want to make sure that my products feel the best. Now you've got a feeling of anticipation. Let me make sure this product is as perfect as possible, so that when I am ready to release them, I'm gonna have a bunch of customers ready and lining up. And again, that's affecting your fingers now. Now you're gonna jump onto Photoshop and you're gonna make sure you're designing the best product of your life. So that's just an example, man. I don't care what situation you're going through right now. And I tried to keep this within, like, related to business, but to be honest with you, it applies across the board, innit? No matter what situation you're going through, it's not negative or positive. It's just the fact, and you can't control the fact. You can prevent it, but once the fact is here, the fact is here. It's just now whether you're going to focus on the positive side of the fact or the negative. And that leads on to my second thing that I want to touch on, a quick pattern, yeah? Now, in life, typically, things tend to go down before they go up, yeah? For example, a tree. Before a tree can shoot up and be 20, 30, 50, 60, 70 foot up in the air, it has to go down. It starts off as a seed, it goes down into the ground and is covered with mud, dirt, soil, water, whatever the case may be. But it goes down before it comes up. And it reminded me of a story in the Bible, yeah, about Joseph. Deeper story. Joseph, like, had a mad vision. Yeah, he had a crazy vision of his future. God gave him this vision in his dreams, or whatever the case may be. And Joseph made the mistake of telling his brothers about this dream. And one thing that I've realized from that story, yeah, is that people who don't have a vision will always envy you because of your vision. Yeah, the visionless is always gonna hate or try to pull down the people with the vision. It's like they were intimidated by the vision of his own future. So because of that, his brothers hated him. His father loved him. Joseph was his father's favorite, but his brothers hated him. His brothers were jealous and envious to the point that they tried to kill him. Imagine your own brothers trying to kill you. Yeah, so the brothers all plotted to try and kill Joseph. So they got Joseph and they must have threw him into a well, and they were just going to keep him inside there. And when they threw him into the well, yeah, it reminded me, again, pattern. It's like he was going down, physically going down before he came up. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So they threw him in the well with the intention to kill him. So they left him inside there and he went away. And then one of the brothers was like, nah, let's not kill him. Let's try and sell him. So they went back to the well. And when they went back to the well, Joseph was gone. Someone already came there, took him out the well, and then put him into slavery. So Joseph was working as a slave. I think it was in Egypt, if I'm not mistaken, but he was working as a slave in Egypt for a king. But what I found crazy, yeah, is that nowhere in this whole Bible, you can't show me one place in the Bible where we see Joseph complaining about his situation. On his way down, he was faithful. On his way down, he focused on the positive side of the situation. And this is what I'm saying. You can't control the fact. Joseph couldn't control the fact that his brothers threw him inside the well and wanted to kill him because of his own vision. He couldn't control that. But what he could control is his focus. So he became a slave. And what he done, he grafted in that position. He grafted and he became one of the most trusted slaves within the land. And what happened because of that is that he ended up taking over that land. I'm pretty sure it was Egypt. And it just made me realize the difference between Joseph and us as people in this current day and age. Yeah? And this is me. I'm not even pointing fingers. This is me. Sometimes in life, when we're going down, we're quick to complain. We're quick to focus on the negative. We're quick to try and grab onto anything to stop or prevent ourselves from going down. And it made me realize that going down is the natural stage, the natural pattern of progression. And this is what I'm saying, where I like to clock patterns throughout life, because now that I know this, if there's ever a time where I feel like in my life I'm in a season of going down, I'm in a season of just declining, I know that is preparation for my growth. Just like a seed's preparation is to go down into the ground. If you think about it, if a seed had emotions and feelings, a seed's going to be thinking, I want to be this 70-foot tree, but I have to go down into the ground and get covered by dirt, soil, and all of these things and be trampled on day to day. If a tree had feelings, it would be in a messed up situation, like us. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you need to fix your focus so you can adapt your feelings. But let me stop preaching, man. Let me stop preaching. But it's just a message to say that, look out for principles in your life. Try and figure out what principles apply to you, innit? Do some study on principles. Look out for patterns in your life. Focus on that law of polarity. There has to be a positive to your situation because there's a negative. So the fact that there's a negative is evidence that there's a positive. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And also think about that pattern of going down before you come up. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a pattern in life. Everything in life, it goes down before it comes up. You go to the gym, you've got to break your body down before it builds up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like a baby, before it starts to walk, it has to fall down so many times before it can stand up and walk and then run. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. Again, I tried to tie this into clothing brands, but this concept just applies across the board, man. But I hope this helps someone. It's helped me. And hopefully you guys understand why my brain works, how it works in it. I just try and spot different principles and patterns throughout my life. And the sick thing about principles is that if you find a principle, it can be applied to every aspect of your life, not just the principle that you found it in. But yeah, I'm out.